I'm Jen Yocum, and this is a sequence that I designed to get some like super rockin' thighs, really intense stuff that we're going to be doing in the thighs, as well as just stretching out. So I'd recommend this for a little bit more advanced beginners and up, or if you're really a strong beginner, that would be totally fine as well. You don't want to do this if you have limited mobility or you're an absolute beginner and you've had some injuries. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So rocking side to side, finding a place in this easy cross-legged position where you feel the sitting bones ground down through the earth. You're going to roll the shoulders back, place the hands on the knees, and close the eyes, taking a couple breaths in and out through the nose here. Just letting go of any of the craziness you've had in the day and just arrive on the mat. Next, exhale, take the chin up toward the ceiling, stretching out the front of the neck and chest. Touch the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth behind the top two teeth and close the lips. You can jut out the chin a little bit more if you need a more intense stretch. Inhaling back to center. Exhale, take the chin to the chest, stretching out the back of the neck. And coming back to center. Exhale, take the right ear toward the right shoulder. Keep both shoulders down, stretching out the left side of the neck. And back to center, down the other side. And begin to circle the head around, getting out all of those little like cracks and crinkles in the neck. And switch directions. And come back to center. Take a couple deep breaths here. Get that little dizzy feeling going. And then gently blink the eyes open. From here, we're going to take the right arm out to the side, push through that to round the side of the body, reach and stretch overhead, open that chest toward the ceiling, bend the elbow on that right arm if you can, but you don't want to make this hip here float up. You want to keep it tacked down. And coming back to center, other side, reach and stretch. And go ahead, come back to center. One more time each side. Again, really opening up that chest if you can. And bring it back to center. Other side, reach and stretch. And back to center. Take the right hand behind you, left hand to right knee. Sit up nice and tall. Exhale, twist to look behind you. And come back to center. Other side. Sit up nice and tall, then twist. Twists are great for cleansing out all the toxins in the body. Getting out all that gunk we don't need. It's like wringing out a dirty, wet towel. And come back to center. From here, extend the legs out, straight in front. Rock side to side. Get any extra hip and thigh flesh out of the way. Toes up toward the ceiling. Inhale, take the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. And have a relatively flat back, gentle bend to it. So we're using the breath here to help us get deeper. So one part of those rockin' thighs is the hamstrings, so we're stretching that right now. Most people have really tight hamstrings, especially guys. They're like physiologically prone to being tighter. And especially if you work out a lot and you're not stretching enough, you can get really tight hamstrings. And then go ahead, walk those hands back up to seated. Take the right foot in, just the ball of the foot. Coming into Janu Shirsasana, head to knee pose. Inhale, sweeping those arms up. Exhale, folding down over that left leg. Holding these poses for a longer period of time gets down to connective tissue and the fascia, which helps really increase our range of motion. Go ahead, inhale, bring the hands back up to seated. Let's switch sides. So other foot, just the ball of the foot comes into the leg. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, folding forward. Deep breaths here. And inhale, walk the hands back up to seated. Go ahead, take the legs out to the side. You're going to take your hands around the muscle of the thigh, and you're going to rotate it inward. So inwardly spiraling that. Take the hands and walk them out until your inner thighs stop you. Unless your entire body's on the floor, you got work to do. So we're just going to breathe here. This is working the inner thighs. And then go ahead, walk the hands back up to seated. Now walk the hands over to the right side. Hold it here just for a moment. And if you can, take your right hand to the leg or to the bottom of the foot if you're more flexible. And you're going to rotate, open up that chest, like really open it. That's the important part here, not touching your foot. You're going to rotate the chest out and extend the arm up straight overhead. If you can take it down the leg, but not if you're collapsing over. You have to be nice and open if you're going to do that. And just breathing here. Turning your gaze up toward the ceiling if you can. And then releasing, walking the hands back to center. Now over to the left side, holding it here. And then again, taking that hand to the foot or to the leg, whatever you can get to, rotating that chest up, extending that arm up toward the ceiling, and then down the leg if you can without collapsing. Gazing up toward the ceiling if you can. And then bringing it down, walk those hands back up to seating. Go ahead, come on to hands and knees. Cat-cow. If you have knee issues, you may want to put a blanket underneath your knees here. So just coming into our regular cat-cow, inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. Just going back and forth, warming that spine up. After your next cat, go ahead, come back to table, tuck the toes, lift the knees about 1 inch off the ground, and then cat-cow from here. So inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. Brings those legs into it a little bit more. One more each direction. And then bring it down. Go ahead from here, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. Since it's our first one, go ahead, walk it out. Just alternating those heels. And then from here, lift those heels up as high as you can get them. And then wave everything slowly forward into plank or push-up position. Now you should be able to do this without having to adjust where your hands and feet are. But if you do need to do that the first time, go ahead and do that and keep it there. So you're going to push through those hands, waving all the way back to downward facing dog. One more time, lifting up, waving it forward. Pushing through the hands, waving it back. And then go ahead, coming into the full vinyasa flow here, lifting those heels up, waving it forward. Shift the weight a little bit further forward, chaturanga, into up dog. And then from here, pushing back into that pointed plank, and then downward facing dog. So let's do one more time. Lift those heels, shifting it into plank, pushing forward, chaturanga, up dog, pointed plank, into downward facing dog. Walk it out. And we're going to walk our feet a little bit further in, maybe like 2-3 feet in, away from your hands. We're going to bend the knees, and from here, we're going to do Shakti kicks. So we're just going to jump up, and we're going to do that 5 times. So just as high as you can get. Jumping up, 2. It doesn't even matter if it's just a little bit of jumping here. And then go from there. So a total of 5 times. And we're going to jump up one more time. But this time, we're going to jump between the hands. So you're going to bend the knees, and then jump up as close as you can to your hands. And then lift that flat back and fold down. Deep breaths here. Take your hands, the insides of the elbows. Let's move side to side. I'm going to ragdoll. If you need to bend your knees here, you can. And then go ahead from here. Take that right foot back into a high lunge. So we're going to lift up just a little bit. And if you have a hard time balancing on that back foot, you can ground it down. But if you can, keep it up on that ball of your foot. You're going to lift up a little bit and get that extra length in the spine. From there, pushing up through the leg to slowly float up. And then slowly floating up the hands from there. So from here, in this high lunge, again, if you feel like you need to readjust your feet, like you're not far enough apart or you're too far, go ahead, do that. You want the front knee to be over the ankle. From here, we're going to take the hands into fists and bring them down the side, bend that back knee into lunges of fire, inhaling up. 2, 3, 4, 5, feel that burn. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Go ahead, step forward, and then sit down into chair pose. So for chair pose, you want to make sure that your knees are back enough so that you can see your toes. So making sure that's in place. Then you're going to tuck the tailbone, so you make sure you're not sticking your butt out. Tuck that tailbone, and from there, sit a little deeper. And then go ahead, fold forward. From here, take that left foot back into that high lunge. Again, knee over the ankle in the front, lifting up just a little bit to get that nice elongation in the spine. Pushing up from here, lifting up into your high lunge. Again, adjusting here if you need to. And we're going to do 10 lunges on this side. So bringing the hands into fists and then bending that back knee. Inhaling up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Feel that burn in those thighs. Last one. And step it forward. Again, sitting down, chair pose. Check those knees, tuck that tailbone, and sit from there. And fold down. From here, walk your hands over to one side. Help stretch out that leg. And then walk your hands over to the other side, stretching out the other leg. And then go ahead from here, roll the shoulders back to come all the way back up to standing. I'm going to turn to face you so you can see me. We're going to come down into chair pose. We're going to do twists of fire. So for that, we're going to start in chair pose. So sitting down, again, knees back so you can see those toes. Tuck that tailbone. So from there, take the hands into Namaste or prayer pose here. And then you're going to take the elbow to the opposite knee. Inhaling up, exhale, opposite knee. So keep going back and forth with your breath. Inhaling up, exhaling down, inhaling up, exhaling down, and just going back and forth with your breath. Inhaling up, exhaling down. So it's called twists of fire. It's building up that heat. You're not straightening your legs totally on this inhale. You're always keeping that nice, slow bend to your knees so that you can have that nice thigh burn. Last time. And then from here, coming back into chair. And then fold forward. Woo-wee. From here, you're going to squat down. And then come onto your butt. Roll onto the back. Rock side to side. Any kind of yuckiness out of the back. Grab onto those knees. Roll them into nice circles, massaging out the sacrum. And switch directions. Going the other direction. Take the right knee into the chest. Extend the left leg out straight on the mat if you can. And then switch sides, other leg. So left leg comes in, right leg goes out straight. And then go ahead, have your feet flat on the mat, lift your hips up. Take your hips to the left side, take the knees to the right, extend that left arm out to the side, and your gaze to the left as well if you can. And coming back to center, lifting up, taking the hips to the right side, knees to the left. Other side. Go ahead, come back to center. Take your knees into your chest. And then rock and roll on the spine. Bring up and down as best you can. Help massage everything out. And then if you can, coming up to standing by pressing the sides of the feet up to come all the way up here. Take a nice wide distance on the mat. So I'm just giving you a little bit of a break before we pump it back up. So take those feet nice and wide and then take them out at about a 45-degree angle. You're going to take your hands to your thighs and then bend the knees. Really squat in there. Get a nice deep stretch in those thighs. You're going to bring your hands into fists and bring them to your sides and then cross over the body. Notice I'm shifting the feet too, turning it into a warrior two stance. Bringing it here in the center, other side. In the middle, across. So again, always really having that nice deep stretch in the middle. Exhaling on the extended extensions. One more time, each direction. And then squatting down here in the middle. And really getting down in there. And then go ahead, straighten those legs out some. Scoot the legs a little closer together so they're about shoulder distance apart. You're going to take your hands into Namaste or prayer pose at your chest. Bend the knees and come down to squat in between the legs. Staying here in Balasana. Now take your right elbow and press that into the right leg and twist up to the left, extending that left arm up toward the ceiling. Bring it back down. Other side, up and twist. Coming back down. One more time each direction. Bring it down. Other side. And bring it down. From here, planting the hands, you're going to go ahead and jump back into a plank pose if you can. And then take the knees down, push back into child's pose. Shifting up, taking the hips forward, pushing up into a modified up dog. Go ahead, have your hips resting on the ground here. And then pushing back to come to a seated position. So ideally, you should have your butt between your heels, but that can be tough for some people. We may need to sit on a blanket or a block. And this stretches out the thighs. If you're more advanced and you want to do something a little bit deeper, you can come into saddle pose, which is taking the legs out to the side more, and then slowly working yourself all the way back down onto the ground. So it's a deeper stretch in the thighs, and you can also do it having something behind you. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and come back to show you the seated position, where most of you probably are. And again, you can take 2 or 3 minutes to do this if you were doing the saddle pose. And then shift the weight forward and then back. Come back onto your back. Staying down here this time. Again, nice circles. And just doing a couple of quick things with the abs. So taking the legs, pointing the toes up toward the ceiling, fingertips up toward the toes. We're going to pause for a count of 15. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and release. Take your legs, extending them out, pointing the toes, taking the arms up overhead. And then rolling over onto the stomach very briefly. Prop yourself up, diagonally taking the right arm across, bend the left leg, take your hand to that left foot. Stretching out the quads even deeper. And switch sides, other side. Again, any of this stuff you can do a little bit longer if you've got some more time. And release. Go ahead and gently come onto the back. Lift the hips up. Take them all the way so that you're resting on your neck. And slowly lower down. 1, one vertebrae at a time, feeling each one make contact with the earth, coming down to the pelvis. And extend the legs out one at a time. Take your arms out at about 45 or 30 degrees. And take your palms up toward the ceiling in a sign of acceptance for whatever the universe has in store for you. Close the eyes and feel yourself sink deeply into the earth. If you've got more time here, you can do this for up to 10 or 15 minutes. 5 minutes is a good place to start if you have the time, or even just a couple minutes. It's a place where we integrate everything that our body just did. So go ahead and sink into that earth. If a thought enters your mind, acknowledge it and let it go. Focus only on the breath. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes and stretch in whatever way feels good to you right now. And when you're ready, go ahead and roll over onto your right side in a fetal position, supporting your head with your arm, tucking your knees into your chest, keeping your eyes closed and resting here in a moment. When you're ready, press your hands into the floor, pushing yourself up into a seated position with your head coming up last. Coming back into that easy cross-legged position. Take your hands into Namaste or prayer pose with your chest. Close your eyes. Gently tuck the chin. Take a couple deep breaths here. So I hope you appreciated the burn in your thighs, the newfound appreciation for the powerful muscles that they are. I hope to see you next time. Namaste.